Oh, it's finally over. Oh, if you were unaware, by any stretch of the imagination, the last, I would say probably 2 to 3 months, I have been on, I guess you would call, a tour of the Disney parks of the Americas. As I was saying, the music might be a little loud. And so today I figured I'd walk you guys through. This is just sad. Next thing you know, you're in the poop-covered streets. This is in the running. 1, 2, 3! It's growing on me. And now that I'm back in the old office, I decided it was time to record my findings, not just of things that I found in the park's secrets, but also of the state of Disney today. Yeah, it's the title. Disney has been, for lack of a better term, going through it for about the past year or so, and I wanted to give my thoughts on these things because everyone wants to hear my thoughts. I mean, I'm sure I've traveled from Disneyland to Disney World the most within the past couple of months of anybody out there, so I am qualified, but I do just mostly talk about Disney history, so I'm not really up to date with current events. So I've chosen to break this video down into multiple different semi-chapters. We're going to talk about the Disney World 50th, we're going to talk about Disneyland, we're going to be talking about new policy changes, trams, everything. Even the CEO, Bob Chapek. It was never meant to be. So join me today as I discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Disney parks. And maybe we'll do a little quick foray into the movies. Mostly just the parks though. And where better to start than at Disneyland?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Disneyland has now ended its normal operating day. We thank you for your visit to the Magic Kingdom and hope that the memories you've made will bring you back again soon. Until then, good night, and we wish you a safe and pleasant journey home.
We'll see you in 2 weeks!
Disneyland closed its gates in March of 2020 and wouldn't reopen them until April of 2021. And to say that this past year has been sort of a whirlwind for Disney parks all around the world would be an understatement. We've learned how much these parks mean to some people and what it can do to your brain when they're closed for this long. But in April of 2021, this year as of the recording of this video, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure are reopened and essentially, for the most part, back to normal, minus masks inside, again, as of the time I record this. The park's capacity is almost completely back up to what it normally is. I honestly think it's back up to what it normally is. Most of the shops and restaurants are now reopened. It feels like normal Disneyland now, rather than like the strange half experience we were getting when they first reopened in April. And when I say almost back to normal, I mean there are still a few things missing, like parades. The Frightfully Fun parade came back for Oogie Boogie Bash, but over at Disneyland so far, there's nothing, except Disney has recently teased that the Main Street Electrical Parade is coming back. Some people were not very excited by this. Me, on the other hand, I can never get enough of the Main Street Electrical Parade, so I, for one, welcome it back. Although I never did get to see Magic Happens, the new daytime parade for Disneyland that premiered before the park shut down, like a matter of weeks before the park shut down. Honestly, if I were to choose between the two, I would probably choose Magic Happens because I haven't seen it before, but I mean, hey, old reliable, you know? It just keeps coming back. And I'm actually happy it does. Don't get rid of the electrical parade. Now here's something I'm gonna mention throughout the entire rest of the video. They just keep building things. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is coming along swimmingly in Toontown, and a sort of different version of Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin is coming as well with the retheming of Jessica Rabbit's character. So Toontown is getting a sort of facelift for when Runaway Railway opens, and I think that's gonna be great because Toontown is one of the least loved lands in the park, and giving it a major e-ticket like Runaway Railway and updating one of its already existing classic dark dark rides as a good way to get started on this facelift. Hopefully we do see some more stuff in Toontown by the time MMRR, that's what we Disney fans call it, opens, but I'm not hedging my bets on it entirely. Maybe a new quick service, but again, I wouldn't rely on that happening. Meanwhile, over in California Adventure, the much-needed Avengers Campus Land opened in June. And maybe it's just my Marvel bias, but I think this is one of the best land additions to Disneyland since Galaxy's Edge, but I mean, that was also fairly recent. I'm a massive Marvel fan, more so than Star Wars, and I think Web Slingers, it's a controversial ride, but I don't think it was ever meant to be the e-ticket flagship attraction that they were posturing it to be. It opened with Virtual Queue because it was the only new attraction in a new land. Guardians of the Galaxy is technically an Avengers Campus ride, but it was open before that. The Avengers e-ticket is on the way, the facade is up, we just don't know when. It's been delayed, maybe indefinitely, maybe not, again, we have no idea. It is coming though, and if it had opened with just the e-ticket instead of just Web Slingers, I think the land would have been received a whole lot better. Unfortunately, it seems that's not what Disney does these days when opening new lands, so we'll just have to wait and see. I'm fully expecting to have my mind blown by the Avengers though, so I hope it's worth the wait. Elsewhere in California Adventure, it's essentially what it was before the shutdown, so not much to write about here. Honestly, to wrap up my segment on Disneyland, I'm going to consider this the most, quote, normal of all the Disney parks in America right now. Aside from a couple, and I do mean like 1 or 2 shops being closed per park, this is the Disneyland you knew before it closed. Now, as soon as they open up those trams, we'll be in business. Oh man, where do I even start here? Well, let's go ahead and begin with the best park at Walt Disney World, Epcot. Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching this video on the state of Disney parks today. Again, a massive thank you to the Magic Candle Company. Okay, but seriously, I am gonna start at Epcot because I can talk all day about it. And I will. Aside from maybe California Adventure, no Disney park has ever undergone such a thorough transformation as Epcot is undergoing right now. And it's undergoing that complete renovation all while having all of the attractions, minus one technically, open and operating. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure recently opened. That ride was amazing. Just a fantastic ride that the screens didn't really take you out of it as much as I thought they were going to. I'll do a ride review on that if you guys are interested. Space 220, amazing. Club Cool, Club Cool's there again. Try the Beverly. Right now, okay, hold on a second. Okay, I'm like 97.3% sure that this is in case because of the coronavirus restrictions, and you know, you want people to be safe when they're trying out all these drinks at Club Cool, but it is only 1 party per fountain, and I believe they have like 8 fountains in there, which isn't bad, but hopefully once all this blows over and Epcot is fully open and everybody is back to normal, that they just allow people, you know, to go up to the fountains and, you know, share it with another party if you want to, like they did in the old Club Cool. Because waiting 25 minutes for a fountain to open up, sometimes even the line stretches outside by the creation shop, that is too much, and that is not in the spirit of the original Club Cool. Something that I hate to do. I went there at the very end of the night, like right before the park closed. I waited probably 15 minutes, but waiting for fountain isn't fun. Hopefully it's just a temporary measure though. I'm gonna remain neutral on this until they do end up lifting it, or if Disney gets lazy and just has it be 1 party to a fountain forever, I'm gonna call them out on that, because I'm a Club Cool connoisseur. Look at this footage of me sipping the Beverly, you can tell. Over at Animal Kingdom, they have Kite Tails, which is hilarious, may I say first of all, but apparently this is supposed to happen. They're supposed to land in these bleachers, and maybe even sometimes in the water? Pandora's great, everything's looking good over at Animal Kingdom. I mean, I think it's playing to a certain audience, people who like Disney and, you know, zoos and animals, that kind of thing, and I think it's playing to it well. So nothing to complain about with Animal Kingdom. Pandora is still great, Everest is amazing, Dinosaur is scary but also stupid. Hollywood Studios, of course, has a carbon copy of Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge. Well, pretty darn close. There's an extra pathway in there for some reason. It's still got Muppet Vision, so immediately points for that. The Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular is going to reopen soon, which I did not see coming. Honestly, I still believe that this is sort of a waste of area. I think they could just build Indiana Jones Adventure there, keep the theming on the outside, but just build Disneyland's Indiana Jones Adventure. Or if you don't want a carbon clone, put something else back there. That whole Indiana Jones area is enough space for a brand new land, and I think you're really missing an opportunity. But yeah, Hollywood Studios is looking good. It's got a Skyliner, it's got a new bus stop, all of it. It's great. Now, you would think with it being the 50th anniversary that the Magic Kingdom would be getting the most out of all 4 of the parks for its anniversary, but that's not what's happening. We still don't have an opening date for Tron, although I would heavily hedge my bets on 2023, because if it was opening this or next year, they would have already announced it with the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy being slated for next year. Tron's probably gonna be 23. And just checking my notes here, that's the only new thing coming to the Magic Kingdom as far as I know. The Jungle Cruise got the facelift that Disneyland also got, so all's good there. Princess and the Frog, who knows when that's happening? Disneyland Railroad's still dead. The Magic Kingdom is consistently the best and worst park right now to visit. It's so weird. It's Magic Kingdom, like the closest you can get to the classic Disneyland experience in Anaheim. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel like all the other parks are getting new things. Animal Kingdom got Pandora, Hollywood Studios got Galaxy's Edge, Epcot is getting an entirely new version of the park, Disneyland also got Galaxy's Edge and Runaway Railway, California Adventure has Avengers Campus, but the Magic Kingdom is just kind of sitting here waiting on Tron. It's I don't know. Something's missing. You know what I'm saying? Something's missing. Which is extra weird because, like I said, it's the 50th anniversary, which brings me to part 3. 50 years of Walt Disney World. I actually saw a tweet that said Disney World put more effort into celebrating Disneyland's 50th than they did their own 50th, and it's just about the stupidest thing I've ever had the displeasure of reading. Although it's far from perfect, they're doing just about the same, if not more, for the 50th than Disneyland did for the 60th. They decorated the castle there. The Disney World did that too. Special fireworks show here as well. Fab 50 sculptures. Disneyland did not do that. And I didn't really get the hype of the Fab 50 sculptures as they were announcing them. They were making a big deal over who's gonna make the cut. No parks exclusive characters except for Figment did, by the way. But, that's okay. I can get over it. I think they're cool to see life-size versions of these Disney characters. That's right, these are all life-size. These are to scale versions of these characters just around near their rides or near different restaurants. It's very cool just to find all of these different characters. It's sort of like a scavenger hunt. You ever wonder how tall Frozone is in real life? Well, now you can figure that out for yourself at Hollywood Studios. Just a little detail that I think goes a long way for the 50th. All of the new beacons of light. Disneyland did not do that, and they are fantastic. If you can, be sure to make the first lighting ceremony of each night. They light up all the icons to be iridescent. Cinderella Castle, the Tree of Life, Spaceship Earth, and for some reason, the Hollywood Tower Hotel and not the Chinese Theater. Yeah, I don't get it. But it's an amazing way to tie all 4 parks together for the 50th instead of just the Magic Kingdom, and it, like I said, it looks incredible. Where Disney begins to lose me, though, is the new nighttime spectacular Disney Enchantment for the Magic Kingdom. This replaced Happily Ever After, and after seeing it twice, I can say that it should not have replaced Happily Ever After. Happily Ever After seemed like it had some emotion in it, just like Wishes. This one, Enchantment just seems like it's go, go, go all the time. Gotta show you these crazy cool projections. Gotta just keep going, keep it happy, keep it lively, keep it exciting. There's no time in the show where it slows down like Happily Ever After did. There's no show-stopping moments like the Genie taking off in a rocket or the castle itself singing in a very deep baritone voice. There's so much missing here that I'm gonna say it's not a worthy successor to Happily Ever After. I'll even say it's one of the more lackluster fireworks shows Disney's done in recent memory. Speaking of lackluster fireworks shows, do you know what Harmonious isn't? That. When Disney announced Harmonious, people were up in a frenzy, and when they moved the barges into the World Showcase Lagoon, people hated it even more. And then the show opened, and yes, while people still do hate the barges, which is understandable, I don't really mind too much. The show, I called my shot and said we needed to wait and see how it was, is amazing. Very, very good. Harmonious is fantastic. Me and my wife have a theory that Disney went and took all of the budget for the 50th Nighttime Spectacular and put it toward Harmonious, because you can certainly tell. It's got the slower moments from Happily Ever After that are missing from Enchantment. It's got everything, and the barges are fantastic when they unfold and all the lights happen. It's like a mix of World of Color and Illuminations. It's amazing. Harmonious is, after Happily Ever After, I think, probably the best nighttime Disney show I've ever seen. And also Paint the Night. Paint the Night is amazing too. But hey, would you look at that? We're back on Epcot. How did we end up over here? That's a mystery that will never be solved. I think if there's one thing they could have done to improve on the 50th is giving facelifts to some more of the opening day attractions, not just Jungle Cruise. I hate to say it, but maybe put the Hatbox Ghost in the Haunted Mansion. Even though I think he should remain a Disneyland exclusive, I think it would have been pretty cool to see him in there. I think something that would have really spoken volumes is if Disney worked overtime, and I mean overtime, to reopen the Disney World Railroad before or in time for the 50th. That's not going to happen. But I think the reopening of the railroad after being closed for so long, being such an iconic part of not just Disney World, but Disney parks in general, would have gone a long way. But here we are. Just look at this Fab 50 sculpture. Again, not terrible, not a bad 50th, could be better. Okay, now that we've talked about all of the stuff from the parks, all of the good and, some of the bad and lackluster, we need to talk about prices, and yes, okay, you knew we had to talk about it. We have to talk about the problems with Disney today. Even though I uploaded a video called that exactly a couple weeks ago, this is going to be a bit of a different take. Because now Disney Genie and Genie Plus are out. It's among the people at Walt Disney World, and I used Disney Genie. Note, I did not buy Disney Genie Plus, not because I was super adverse to it, I wanted to test it out, but I didn't really see the need. Disney Genie in of itself was a very, very nice and welcome addition to the My Disney Experience app, the Disney World app, and soon the Disneyland app, probably before the end of the year. It's really cool. It lets you pick what you like to do at the parks, it lets you plan out your day, it recommends rides that are either close to you or have a shorter wait time, it shows you the estimated wait time throughout the day. Disney Genie is amazing. I think it's a godsend from Disney, and it really helps people who like to either maximize their planning or minimize their planning. In my case, I like to wander. The problem starts when we see Disney Genie Plus enter the stage area. I guess this is a play. Disney Genie is the planning and app experience. Disney Genie Plus is the new replacement for Fastpass that includes Lightning Lane. And AR photos and sound bites. It really is just Lightning Lane, though. Here's the thing. I noticed people using it at Walt Disney World because people were going through the Lightning Lane entrance, and whenever we did, they asked if it was Lightning Lane or DAS. So obviously, Fastpass, as we sort of know it, is back. And if this were free, if the Genie Plus Lightning Lane experience was free, I would say this is a fantastic, amazing improvement on what Disney World already had. Disneyland, we'll talk about that in a second. I hated Fastpass Plus. I am a known critic. I did not like Fastpass Plus at the Disney World Resort. I thought it just incentivized people to stay on property, and if you weren't staying on property, you didn't get any fast passes for any of the good rides or any dining reservations. It just made it so much harder to do what you wanted to do at Walt Disney World for that day. If you wanted to ride Test Track, you would either have to wake up at 5 a.m. or you'd have to be staying on property at a Walt Disney World resort. If you didn't do either of those two, sorry, you're gonna get a fast pass for the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which is, for my Disneylanders out there, a Dumbo clone. Day of fast passes are superior in every way, shape, and form, and it lets people do what they want to do for that day. The problem enters when you are charging a base fee to get these fast passes or Lightning Lane passes. If you want to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you can, but now you have to pay $9 to $15 per person to do that. That is not good. I'm sure we all know the story of Lightning Lane and Genie Plus up until now. I've talked about it, and many others have talked about it ad nauseum. Here's the thing, though. It's gonna be a smash hit at Walt Disney World. There's no way this can fail because, here it is, everyone, Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and Rise of the Resistance are all individual paid Lightning Lane passes. If you miss getting your virtual queue for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, you can just pay that extra, $50 to $60 to get your party in. But the one attraction I think is going to make Lightning Lane a smash success at Walt Disney World is Frozen Ever After. There is not another Frozen dark ride in the vein of Frozen Ever After at any of the Disney parks. The families that come from all over the world and have one opportunity to ride Frozen Ever After are going to pay that individual Lightning Lane pass every single time. Why are you going to want to wait in line for upwards of an hour, or if the ride breaks down, or if the park is near closing? Your child wants to ride Frozen so bad they want to see Elsa, and you can't disappoint them, so yes, you are going to cough up that extra couple of dollars to do it. Frozen Ever After is the reason I think Lightning Lane will not be going anywhere or lowering prices anytime soon at Walt Disney World. Disneyland, on the other hand, is a completely different ballgame because everyone, or not everyone, most of the people going to Disneyland are locals. They live in California and can drive to and from their house to Disneyland. They're repeat visitors. If they don't get to ride, say, Rise of the Resistance or, Indiana Jones Adventure, they can just come back the following week or month, and we'll talk about that later, and just try again. Why pay for Lightning Lane for Radiator Springs Racers when you can just ride Single Rider or, rope drop it? And to top all of that off, you can't add Lightning Lane onto an annual pass, or I guess it would be a magic key. You have to pay per day. Which is why I think while Lightning Lane's going to be a massive hit at Walt Disney World, it's going to be the exact opposite over in Anaheim. Nobody's gonna buy it, nobody's gonna want to use it, because why would they when they can just come back later and ride the ride again? Honestly, I could see the Lightning Lane or Genie Plus situation in Anaheim going anywhere from lowering the prices immensely, being able to add it onto an annual pass, or just completely going away in general and normal Fastpass coming back. That's the good ending. That's the best timeline. Okay, though there's your fill on Genie Plus. Is a bit of a rant, but now let's talk about park reservations. After the resorts reopened, they required park reservations. You would have to buy a ticket and then choose what day you were going to be there in order to gain entry to the park. This was mainly to control capacity in the first place, but has now sort of grown beyond that into Disney getting an idea of who's going to be where on what day, what dates are popular, what they could charge more for, and staffing. What parks are going to be busier on what days, thus requiring more cast members. Let me preface this by saying my opinion is very skewed because I'm an out-of-stater for both resorts, so reservations don't really matter too much for me. I'm gonna have to book flights and hotels anyway, so reservations are just another extra step, but nothing too big. It hasn't changed my outlook on the parks, but for the locals, for the annual pass holders who live in these states or visit very often, especially at Disneyland, reservations can be kind of a pain in the butt. Because back in the day, you would have blockout dates on your annual pass, so you couldn't visit on those certain days, but there were annual passes sold without blockout dates, and if you weren't blocked out, you could just go whenever you wanted. Later on into the day, start at either park you wanted, you just scanned in, and you had fun at the parks. Now you have to make a reservation for either California Adventure or Disneyland, or Hollywood Studios or Epcot. And you can't park hop until a certain time, so this leads to people, scanning in at California Adventure right before you're allowed to park hop, immediately leaving and just going over to Disneyland. It seems like a weird extra step. And obviously people are very, very upset with the Dream Key reservations selling out. The whole selling point of the Dream Key was there are no blockout dates, or little to no blockout dates. And that's true, you aren't blocked out if you can get a reservation, which most people cannot for the rest of 2021. So these locals who would make spur-of-the-moment trips to Disney can't do that anymore. You have to plan ahead. And, okay, I'm gonna say this, it's gonna sound weird and a little mean, but I promise I mean it in a good way. They are privileged being able to visit these parks. They have the privilege of being able to visit essentially whatever they want. Again, not in a bad way. All of my local friends, you have the honor, the privilege, you are blessed and lucky to be able to go whenever you want. Not everyone is able to do that. But it's understandable these people who have been visiting Disneyland essentially on whims whenever they wanted for the past, 30, 40 years, they can't do that anymore. And it's a very jarring and shocking change. And if you ask me, that kind of diminishes the point of having the Dream Key, the no blockout date annual pass, because you might not get a reservation. What are you paying extra for? That's why I bought the Believe Key. It's just overall a super weird situation. It's a growing situation. It's a developing and learning situation also. Most of the complaints I've seen for the reservation system come from the locals, people from out of town or out of state or out of country like me. It's whatever, it's fine. But I truly do feel for the locals. It sucks. It sucks having that ability to just go whenever you want taken away from you. Unfortunately, though, I don't see reservations going anywhere. I think they're going to stay in place forever. I think that's just something new that's going to be required when going to a Disney park for probably the next, 10 to 20, 30 years. Disney likes the reservations. They like having a rough idea of who's going to be where and when, what days. So, yeah, we're probably just gonna have to learn to live with it. And even if you do hate it, I mean, there's nothing we can really do unless you just don't go to Disneyland, you know, speak with your wallet, don't go. But I know a lot of people, the annoyance of having to make a park reservation sort of outweighs not going to Disneyland. They would rather jump through that extra hurdle than just not go at all, which is understandable. All right, time for the lightning round. We're getting to the end here. What, 25 minutes? Yeah, lightning round time. Canceled Epcot attractions like Mary Poppins and the Festival Center and World Celebration. That makes me sad. It's not necessarily a bad thing, just makes me a sad thing. Trams need to come back on both coasts. I don't know why I said back like that. Trams need to come back on both coasts because the parking lots in Walt Disney World are, especially the Magic Kingdom, a pain to walk. And Disneyland, I haven't walked that route before, but I imagine it's not too fun. Ticket price increase. If they're increasing the price of tickets, they need to bring back the trams in different aspects of the park that made it worth visiting before the shutdown. It's costing more right now than it was before the shutdown, but you're getting less of a product. So they need to bring back more stuff, open restaurants, and bring back even more of the live entertainment. I know they are phasing that back in. Holiday season's looking really good. Haunted Mansion Holiday is a lot of fun. Small World Holiday is coming. The Festival of the Holidays at Epcot and California Adventure looks very promising. I'm always excited for seasonal events. That's just par for the course. The Magical Express going away. We've talked about this before. Again, not a good thing. Very bad thing. I don't want to hire an Uber every time I want to go from the airport to my resort hotel. I like the Magical Express. I will, because the Magical Express is going away at the end of this year. Destination D is at the end of the month. That should be fun. I'm not saying they're going to announce anything. I'm not guaranteeing anything. But if they are working on an update to Journey into Imagination at Epcot, they will be announcing it at the end of this month at Destination D. If they're not working on anything, they're not going to announce anything. If they don't announce anything, Figment is, on the back burner for a couple of years. If they do announce something, I'll have called it, though. Just watch the live stream. We'll see. And I think that wraps it up. I think that's everything for the video. That is the current state of the Disney parks. If I forgot anything, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure I forgot a whole lot. And what are your opinions on all that I've talked about today? Do you miss the trams? Do you miss the People Mover? Oh yeah, People Mover not being open. Bad. Let me know, are you fed up with the Magic Key reservation system? Does it not bother you as much? What about the Disney World annual pass system that they recently reintroduced? I haven't talked about that as much, but that's also another big thing. But now that I am home, I choose to rest. And by rest, I mean after this goes live, I will start immediately working and editing either Foolish Mortals or the next video that has to go up next week. So I'll see you all then. Thank you all so much for watching, and I am going to go take a nap. Hello everybody, thank you so much for staying tuned until the very end of this video, and yes, if that audio in that last segment there seemed a little weird, it was dubbed. This video about the state of the Disney parks these days, through my eyes, was a lot of fun to make. It's sort of like a venting video, which is why we're running up to about half an hour now. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, and if you're new around here and you want more videos like this, join the club, hit the subscribe button. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. You'll get more Disney goodness in your inbox every single week if you hit that notification bell. Also, very important. If you want early access to videos like this one, head over to my Patreon, and even just $1 a month, it's linked in the description, by the way, will get you access to most of the perks. My Patreon supporters got early access to this video, actually, which is why you see all of their lovely names scrolling by you right now. See, there they are. What tier are we on right now? Ooh, we're on the tier. Very neat. A massive thank you to all of those people featured right there in those credits. If you want to see more from me, please head over to my Instagram or my Twitter or maybe even my TikTok at Offhand Disney. On all of those places, you will see more updates from me, more than just the videos, maybe some behind the scenes stuff and some of my deepest, darkest thoughts. I think that about wraps it up. The point of the video was that I was traveling a lot, but now I am finally back. So be ready for more non-vlog videos. I have been doing a lot of vlogs recently because I haven't been at home. But don't worry, we're going to get a history video next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just me and you talking about old Disney history. It's going to be great. Like I mentioned at the very end of the video, I made a joke about it, but I actually do love making it and editing it. Please head over to the Foolish Mortals channel and watch the podcast I co-host with my good friend Disney Dan. We talk about the Haunted Mansion sometimes on it. I mean, it's based around the Haunted Mansion, but for the most part, it's you know, whatever we feel like talking about in the moment. Tangentially linked to the Haunted Mansion. But that does it for this one, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in next week's video. Goodbye.